my sisters, confirming our weekly dinner plans. Olivia, pizza or curry tonight? Ophelia, the answer is always curry. I blow out a raspberry through my lips, then force my mouth into a smile, texting back my order. Pocketing my phone, I waddle to the entrance of Sprinkle, the scent of ice cream and waffle cones smacking me even through the suit. It's not that I don't enjoy Thursday night dinners with my two favorite people, but the tradition had sprung up from being miserably dumped by Miles and the excessive wallowing I'd done afterward. While eating curry and binge-watching The Real Housewives certainly does some heavy lifting to fill the gaping hole in my life since he broke up with me, the reoccurring dinners are still a reminder of how much time has passed since we split up, and how the chances of getting back together are slimmer and slimmer. It doesn't help that I'm stuck in a nasty cycle of feeling depressed and alone, getting a text from Miles to hang out on a random weeknight, going over to his crappy apartment with his mattress on the floor and 2 drool-stained pillows, without a pillowcase in sight, giving him a blowjob or some other form of lackluster sex, then leaving immediately after. Reed getting kicked out because he has an early morning. I've never known the man to wake up before 11, only for painful radio silence from him for the next week. The routine leaves me feeling even more miserable than before. Shocking. Anytime I get mopey and weak, more often than I care to admit, and blubber to my sisters how badly I want to get back with him, they ask the super fun question of what I even liked about the man to begin with. It's embarrassing how quickly it shuts me up. But honestly, I don't have an answer. How do I explain that he was physically there? Except for all the times he wasn't. And his smile was cute, but he stopped smiling at me sometime around the second week of us dating. And I'd sort of rather die than be alone, even if I felt lonelier than I'd ever been while in a relationship with him. I squeeze behind the shop's counter, then through the kitchen, trying not to run into any appliances as I navigate my way to the break room. The suit makes a schlooping sound as the swirl at the top gets cut off by the doorframe, then pops back up as I force myself through. My friend Lainey turns from where she's hunched near the tiny window in the corner. "Hey," Lainey says, taking a final drag on her joint and blowing the smoke through the open window. "Hi," I say as cheerily as possible, despite my less than sparkling mood. People don't like me if I'm not peppy and happy. "Power me down?" I ask, turning and waving toward my butt. Lainey's footsteps clomp across the small space, and she flicks off the battery pack near the base of my cone, then unties the drawstrings. I sigh in relief as I shimmy out of the nylon monstrosity. Despite it only being the start of April, the humidity in Charlotte, North Carolina is smothering the city with a vengeance. "Got something for you?" Lainey tosses a folded envelope to me, and I fumble, then drop it. "What's this for?" I ask, stooping to pick it up. "Belated birthday present," Lainey says with a bored smile. "Aw, thanks." I grin at her as I take a seat at the rickety card table we used to eat. My birthday was 5 weeks ago, and Lainey, and everyone else who wasn't my sisters or parents, had forgotten, which wasn't a big deal at all and didn't hurt my feelings one bit. "Course." Lainey perches herself back in her spot by the window and lights another joint. "So, I have a tiny favor to ask," she says as I slide my finger under the envelope seal. Lainey always has a tiny favor to ask. "What's up?" I pull out the ripped piece of notebook paper from the envelope. It reads, "Happy birthday," in pencil. I know I'm the absolute worst to ask so last minute, but, I'm scheduled for a double today, but it turns out the band playing at McNally's tonight canceled, and they asked us to play, and it's one of those things you don't want to say no to because you never know when there might be someone important in the audience. You know what I mean, Lainey says, taking a drag, then fixing her features into a puppy dog look. "So, would you cover my shift?" My shoulders curl, a heavy blanket of exhaustion wrapping around me as I stare at the 2 crease scratch-off lottery tickets that Lainey had stuffed into the envelope. Lainey is the lead singer in a band with Miles. It never really feels all that great to cover a shift for her to go hang out with my ex. I'd never admit it, mainly because I prefer to avoid conflict by bottling my feelings up so tightly I'm at risk of exploding like a Coke stuffed with Mentos. But it kinda eats me to pieces that Lainey still hangs out with him, especially since they only know each other through me. And while I'm probably